Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about positive thoughts. Everyone goes on about it. Think positive. Think positive, it's good for you. If you face life with a smile, you face it better. The universe is kinder to you. Everyone treats you better. These are complete nonsense. Because we can't think positive. If we're not positive inside, and if we're not positive inside, it's because we have a reason not to be. To be positive, our childhood needs to have been positive. But if it wasn't, we're sad, or pessimistic, or afraid. How can we think positive? We force ourselves. Try to create a thought from the mind that says, stay calm, everything will be fine. Substituting the soul with the mind. Like conditioning yourself, which isn't even possible. Or it is, but only for a few minutes. This is like those who say, be yourself. How does someone be themselves? They don't even know what themselves is. I don't even know. And I've torn down mental schemas. Who am I? I'm whoever's talking right now. I'm a sentient being with certain sensitivity. An animal. A being of this planet. Like everyone. I'm like an animal, like a plant, like a stone. How can you define yourself? Except artificially. I'm myself. How can you be yourself? When if you've suffered, you spend your life trying to get others to accept you. Because your parents didn't accept you. And let's tell the whole truth. Normally parents don't accept us. Parents don't like this. Because they feel accused of being bad parents. And they forget their children too. So if they weren't accepted as children, it's harder for them to accept their own children. They tend to do to their children what was done to them. I said, do again. Because their parents also did what was done to them. So positive thoughts aren't what we need to have. Because willpower has nothing to do with positive thoughts. Willpower can't change us. Willpower can make us do things we don't like. Can make us push through studies, through work, but not what we are inside. There it has no power. So all those who say, think positive, have understood absolutely nothing. Nothing about the human soul, therefore nothing about themselves. And all the techniques they pull out to change your state of mind serve very little. But positive thoughts do exist. There are positive thoughts about the world and others, and positive thoughts about yourself. I remember a guy who said, every morning when I wake up, I send the world a positive thought. For those who are suffering, I wish them to feel better. I ask that they feel a bit better. Nice thought. You don't know this, but there are magical associations that do these things, that try to heal others' illnesses. There are those who try to safeguard Earth's air, to keep it pure. Obviously, they haven't succeeded much. And there are those who help particular people. As an image, it's nice, because they care about helping others. Naturally, the question is, but do these thoughts arrive? It depends. If we feel them, yes. If they're only mental, nothing arrives. If we feel them, and it's not easy to love others. If we feel them, something arrives. Something. The fact is, it's hard to feel benevolence. For people we don't know. Because inside us, maybe benevolence isn't there for others. And it's not there. Because maybe our parents weren't benevolent with us. Maybe they were too severe, or they were too caught up in their own internal problems, besides external ones. They didn't have time to feel, to reflect, because they had to work, to bring money home. This happens often too, and it's not true I blame parents and absolve children. We're both parents and children. Generally, and as parents we're lacking. we're lacking because we don't know what love is. Often, because love wasn't given to us. Few parents love their children. Many parents worry about their children, make them study, care for them when they're sick, do all their duties. There are some, but this doesn't mean loving. Loving is trying to understand the other. Loving is not taking for granted that the other is a certain way. Loving a child means accepting that the child is different from us, thinks differently from us, and I must spend energy to understand them. The least I can do is ask them. The least I can do is allow them to challenge us, to tell us what, according to them, didn't go well. And if you find out they're right, and generally they have a reason, otherwise they wouldn't be so upset and angry, you can apologize, saying you'll try to improve. It's the most honest thing you can do with children. So, feeling benevolence for others, or maybe benevolence for a category of others. For example, there are those who love animals so much. Often, people who love animals are attacked. What do you mean? You should love humans above all. And naturally, people don't understand. They don't understand several factors. Some have been very hurt and can't manage to love people. For them, it's easier to love animals because they're the most defenseless. And they are. Animals raised by us remain eternal children. And they're in our hands. And often we put them through hell. Man isn't very good to animals. But what's the difference between a kitten and a baby? Isn't it like a baby too? Isn't it at the mercy of others? When I walk down the street and I see cats, dogs, I see almost all of them look skittish, wary. I agree. Because they shouldn't trust, because humans can be so cruel, though there are very good people who feed them, who welcome them, who care for them. I remember cities full of urban wildlife. Raccoons, possums, songbirds in parks, beautiful coexistence. Then developers decided they were a nuisance. They disappeared. A mayor supposedly on the side of the weakest made the cats vanish. Animals were annoying. Animals spread diseases. But look at coronavirus. Humans spread diseases. We're the real problem. Positive thoughts towards some people are difficult. Toward animals, much easier. Because animals don't manipulate, don't lie, don't betray. They deserve our tenderness. Because we've taken everything from them. They have no voice, no choice, no escape from us. We live at others' expense. We stole land from animals, woods, forests, where they thrived. We took it all. We spread worse than mice across this planet. Then we shudder at the sight of a mouse. The irony. We're not just widespread, we lack compassion. We make wars. We exploit workers insanely. Just so someone can flaunt more wealth, flaunt power, be someone. As if they don't die like everyone else. Positive thoughts are those we send to someone we're connected to. Someone we care about. Does that thought arrive? Yes, if it's pure. The thought directed at a child, for example. A person we love who loves us back. Or people who evoke tenderness. Because they're in need. We live in a world full of abuses. Let's not even talk about politicians. Politicians vote themselves raises. While minimum wage stagnates for decades, they have premium healthcare, while citizens go bankrupt from medical bills. Are they another race? How is it possible we tolerate things like this? It's like living in a tribal world. How is there no healthcare for everyone? If you don't have money, you die. You can't be treated. They have to save on healthcare, while accumulating wealth. We live in one of the wealthiest nations on earth. Abundant resources, innovation, infrastructure, and yet millions are one paycheck from homelessness. We can thank our politicians, but we don't see it. We don't see anything. Those who don't see their parents, don't see others, don't see partners, don't see politicians, don't see their neighbors, don't even see their children. At least we want to. Then they teach us we shouldn't. But this isn't very normal. Loving our enemies isn't so positive, because enemies keep hurting us, and we keep getting slapped. It's logical. Bullying always targets the weakest. If we show weakness and offer the other cheek, the bully can't believe it, and hits us harder than before. So it's not a positive thought, because a positive thought must have a positive purpose. The purpose isn't to give an executioner more opportunity to attack a victim. So positive thoughts are true thoughts, understood ones, that derive from knowledge. And that can be tenderness towards some. Then there are positive thoughts toward yourself. Naturally, someone thinks that's selfish, apart from the fact that having positive thoughts about yourself means having an ego. We have an ego. We must maintain the ego. The ego is seen as something horrible. No, it's the conditioned mind that's horrible, not the ego. The ego must be there. I'm in this body, not another. And if I want to care for someone, I must first care for my body. Then I'll take care of the other. Children are the exception. Children come before everyone, even ourselves if we're parents. Positive thoughts toward ourselves are positive when they're conscious. We're not able to see ourselves, so positive thoughts can do tremendous good, even to ourselves. Even to ourselves means start by respecting our feelings. Look for them in childhood, because that's where they got lost. If we don't want to know anything about what we have inside, we don't love ourselves. Whoever loves a child wants to know them. Whoever loves themselves wants to know themselves. You can't love without knowing. You can't know without loving. So the moment we recognize parts of ourselves, feel them, parts that were inhibited in our childhood, because our parents didn't like them, because the environment wasn't kind to us, didn't allow us emotions, parents didn't like our emotions, and when do children's emotions ever please parents? Now talk seriously. You're fine. Stay calm. Stop crying absolutely, and we'll talk about it. But let them finish crying. No, because crying isn't good. Then if it's a boy, the space for emotions must be minimal, especially if it's a boy. If it's a girl, it's tolerated a bit more, but not much there either. Positive thoughts are precisely for those parts that weren't accepted by our parents. Love your child part, which is the instinctual part. What nature gave us, the child has it. The adult doesn't. If we go fishing for the child, we find our instinct again. What we had at birth, susceptible to coming out. As we grew. But parents generally don't allow it, because society doesn't allow it. The child should say all the things they don't like about the life they're living. But they absolutely can't say it. What do you miss? Maybe love, play, joy of living, knowing they can share things with others, exchange affection, gentle things. They miss so much. Children don't even have a world to play in. In cities, we've made cities without green. It should all be gardens with buildings. Already the buildings are unpleasant. But anyway, instead gardens are rare, because developers need land and must make money, and naturally municipalities allow it, because they in turn feed on this money, because it's given to them. Cities are disgusting. The outskirts are horrible. There's no room for greenery. In fact, they're trying to remove it. As soon as a tree's in slight danger, immediately they cut it down, kill it, and it's a killing, a real assassination. There should be a positive thought for plants. Also, because if we have positive thoughts for plants, plants have positive thoughts for us. Because I feel it, whether we love them or not, just as our children feel it. Positive thinking is understanding the other, finding and discovering their importance, despite everything your parents thought, and that society thinks every day. And we should never rely on what society thinks, because society has never understood anything. If you look at everything humans have done up until now, you'll see society has almost never understood things. And today, it hasn't changed. That's what positive thoughts actually mean. And that's the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you all.